All right. Hopefully, you guys should be able to hear me. Hey, what's going on, party people? How's everyone doing out there? Happy New Year, everybody. For me, the new year has just started. So, with all of that being said, it's blessings. You heard. So, welcome. If this is your first time here, it's definitely a great pleasure to have you here. I go by the name of Lespri. I am a spiritual healer. And essentially, what I do as a spiritual healer, guys, is that I pretty much help you to attain your highest level of consciousness. Now, in this channel, to give is to receive, what we do in this channel, I pretty much use the power of words to help you to attain your highest level of consciousness. Now, when I'm talking about the power of words, what I'm referring here to pretty much is what we call quotes, proverbs, certain statements, or wise sayings, old saying. It goes by so many different names, but ultimately, the reason why I call those the power of words is because of the power, or most importantly, of the intelligence that is being displayed in those words. Or in those statements. And what you normally see is that those statements, they automatically captivate your conscious mind. And that's what I like to call it, bypass your conscious mind. Meaning, if you weren't paying attention to it, somehow it crept up on you. It's like you could be. And I also gotta say, it's not. That's why when it comes to the power of words, I always say it's not what you say, but it's how you say it. Because those are just the regular words and that we hear all the time. But the way that they are being put together, that's the cleverness. That's the power of the words. That's where you really get to experience it. Let's just say if there's some such inspirational or motivational quote, like at that point in time, you actually you are experiencing the power of the words because you get to see how the words is acting out on you. So, and not to mention, for me personally, I love that shit. You know what I'm saying? I am infatuated by that motherfucker. But what that does, it bypass your conscious mind, and at that point, it opens you up for you to be more receptive to what that statement is, and that's the beauty of it. And in addition of those power of words too, man, it allows you to somehow get the understanding, not necessarily the actual experience, but you get the understanding of, let's just say, certain experience that you didn't really have to go through. Do you see what I'm saying? And the way those statements are structured, it's almost like you could see poetry, you could see, let's just say, rap. You could see the similarities, but they're not pretty much the same. But what all of them, or all of those different things has, or if you're talking about proverbs or things like that, sometimes it may not rhyme, but it just ultimately comes down to, that's why when I tell people, when I'm talking about the power of words, it really comes down to how things are being said, but not necessarily what is being said, right? And every speaker too. I know for me at least, I certainly understand that. To captivate your mind, or even to emphasize on what I'm saying, it has to be said a certain way. But anyway, all of that. That's pretty much what I do. Welcome. If you're coming back, you already know this ain't nothing but love, and each one teach one. And on the same token, check out my other channel, Lespri. Well, on that channel, I pretty much do the same thing, but it's just a little bit different in here. Because essentially, what I'm doing as a spiritual healer is holding the mirror of wisdom, so you could see your reflection, and that's what allows you to grow, right? Except the method in which this is being done, and to give is to receive, which is the name of the channel that you're looking at here, is done through the power of words. So that's pretty much the difference. And of course, I got the hookah. I'm drinking. It's check it out. It's definitely worth checking it out if somehow you kind of like what you see here and shit like that. But anyway, let me sip on my green real quick before I get into it. And I have one disclaimer before. Mm-hmm. So, um, to me, like I always tell people, when it comes to wisdom, wisdom is wisdom regardless of where it comes from. So a lot of my quotes, they're gonna come. I get them from different sources. If it talks to me, especially a certain way, and I find that I can expand on it because what's understood doesn't have to be explained. Obviously, there's certain quotes, what I'm saying? It's like, I mean, it says everything here. But the ones that I have chosen to actually expand on, those are the ones that are, I would have to say, like, there's a lot more to unpack. I mean, that is not being displayed on a surface level, right? So those would be the ones that I actually choose to talk about. But ultimately, man, it doesn't matter where that shit comes from. You know, I don't think it would be any less true. Let's just say if I got a quote from Christianity or if I got a quote from voodoo, and that's the thing when it comes to wisdom too. Wisdom is wisdom regardless where it comes from. It pretty much edifies. It helps you to build to, and all that good stuff. But anyway, now that we got that out of the way, so let's get into what I'm going to be talking about tonight. So this is a long one. So I just know I was going to remember all that shit. You know what I'm saying? But I have it right here and we'll talk about it real quick. So everything is dual. And this is actually from the Kabbalion. And just so you guys know, before I even delve into that, I strongly recommend the Kabbalion, guys, especially if you're looking. I mean, that's your job. I mean, your job is to enhance your consciousness, meaning for you to know, the best version of yourself, for you to know yourself to the best of your ability. And that's what becoming conscious is, meaning as much as you know yourself, it allows you to understand or to have a better interaction with your environment. But and not to say that's the only way you also going to maintain your sanity, because without being, spiritually activated, it's we're living in a fucking insane world. And without getting too much into that, but the Kabbalion I strongly recommend. They talk about it's a book that's written by the three initiates, and oh boy, I mean, it gives you. In fact, there's a part. I think the very beginning of the book talks about um, what the fuck. It says when the teacher is ready. I mean, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Like I mean, it's just wisdom. Like, I know for me, it's just like, whoo. You know what I'm saying? And even that part alone, I can even talk on that because what this is, there's a lot more that is being said in that statement alone. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. I mean, there is so much shit that's being said here. I mean, you could see the law of correspondence. You could see, if you want to call it, law of manifestation. Like, you could see the level of vibration in there. Like, there is so much that's being said in just that statement. Oh shit! You know what? I'm not. No, you know what? Because I was thinking about that one. So, but that one I'll definitely talk about it more because there's so much to unpack into that statement. It's just fucking unbelievable. But what the Kabbalion does, it helps you with self mastery. It gives you those laws, those different, let's just say, universal laws on how things work. When we talk, okay, in spirituality, when we're talking about laws, what you're talking about here is how things work. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like, okay, I want love, and then I turn into spirituality. How do I get that? Love yourself. You know what I'm saying? So what the laws, those spiritual laws, does it's sort of like it's the key that it gives you the key on how to accomplish certain things. So in those laws, with those seven uh, Tahuti laws, it's just unbelievable, unbelievable. And I have already talked about them. You know, check out my other channel if you're looking for more details. But this is, I mean, to me, that should be your. I mean, anything that helps you with self mastery. And the good thing that the Kabbalion does is that it gives you the wisdom that allows you to look at nature and now having the proper understanding of what you're looking at. That's a big deal. Like I always tell people, because you don't want to have a knowledge that stays in your mind and then it's not relatable. Like it's not even applicable. Do you see what I'm saying? And one of the things that I could think of now, it's pretty much, you know how people tell you got to be humble. You know, we should somehow devalue ourselves, right? Now that is something that is politically, it sounds politically good, you know, because you're putting yourself down, you humble, you're not stepping on anybody's toes, but in reality, it's not. It doesn't fit. It's. I mean, this is okie dokie. Like this is like this. It doesn't work in reality. Anybody you would ever encounter that either become successful or made something out of who they are, they have to value who the fuck they are. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I understand you want to sound politically, you know, so humble, you know, and valuing yourself as well has absolutely nothing to do with not being humble. Because the word humble itself, what that means is it's you not putting your accomplishment above somebody else. Let's just say if I'm a doctor and you work at Walmart, well, guess what? Because I'm a doctor and you work at Walmart, sir, can you please help me? I'm still respectful to you. I don't talk down on you because of my fucking accomplishments. Does that make sense? That's what humble is. It has nothing to do with, let's just say you're a doctor and you don't know you're a fucking doctor. Like, you know, yeah, you know, I mean, I just, you know, it was an accident. I just happened to go to medical school. No, motherfucker, like, you know, that's your shit. But anyway, make it a long story short, going back to the actual, as I was saying, a lot of my quotes comes from different sources. It doesn't matter as long as you know there's something fruitful that I could build on. But most importantly, you know, if it's adding on to you, you know, and for me, and that's why I approach the whole spiritual thing. Maybe I shouldn't say the whole spiritual. I mean, I approach this from a spiritual perspective. And in my other channel, I always take the time to talk about spirituality. I'll do it real quick, you know, not to take too much of your time, you know, because, you know, that's not what I do here. But anyway, you know, spirituality is just your regular life. And the reason why I always like to take the time and talk about it, because it's us. You know what I'm saying? And one of the biggest misconception is like people always feel like, you know, that's something outside of them. Do you see what I'm saying? Or you gotta look a certain way, or maybe when you have those towels wrapped around your ass and shit, you somehow becoming spiritual. You know what I'm saying? Now, granted, all of that has is it's all part of it. I'm not downplaying any of it. I'm not saying it's not good. All I'm saying is when it comes to spirituality, it goes beyond that. It's your essence. Now, what you're seeing, let's just say, if I wanted to become a fucking Buddhist, or if I wanted to wrap my ass with some towels, or maybe what's that shit called? The thing you have wrapped around your head. I can't recall. But anyway, making a long story short, I mean, I'm not, you know, downplaying these people to say that they're not spiritual. You know what I'm saying? All I'm saying is, in fact, what you're seeing here is they have activated their spirituality through their ways. You know what I'm saying? Like the Buddhists got love the orange shit. there's a whole presentation with the lotus. There's a whole everything that they're saying here. This is not to make fun of it, but this is for me to let you know, just because, let's just say, you don't have to do that for you to be spiritual, because it is your essence. Now, once you activated that spirit inside of you, of course, now that you have a better understanding of who you are, I mean, then you understand how important it is to meditate. So there's gonna be certain step that you'll take, to open up your third eye. I know for me at one point that was a big thing that I wanted to do. Or even if you want to travel, I mean, depending on what kind of gift that you have, if you have a psychic or medium, whatever the fuck, I mean, it's all gonna be part of it. But anyway, it's not to shit on these motherfuckers, but pretty much it's you already that. It's your essence. Now, how you choose to activate your essence and kind of go about it, that's when you have Hinduism, you have Voodoo, you have Buddhism, you have Christianity, you have what I'm saying, Sufis, you have the Gnostics. There are so many different, let's just say, I don't like to say the word cult, but so many different, I guess, ways of expressing or to acknowledge the spirit inside of you. You might be related a little more to Buddhism, or you might whatever the fuck. But anyway, making a long story short, spirituality, it is your life. And the reason why, I always like to take the time and say it, and even for me to mention it here, it's only because, if you understand the your let's just say, if you understand your nature, or your spiritual nature, nah, your fucking nature. You know what I'm saying? Because however you choose to dissect it, I mean, you are a living mind. Even when we're talking about those quotes and the power in the words, it's suitable to you. It feeds your mind. I know for me, and listen, man, I'm a great farmer, baby. You dig me? You dig me? You know what I'm saying? You gotta water your garden. Then you understand, I mean, shit. A man, lives, I mean, you gotta have more than wine and bread, for lack of better terms. Like, so when you understand that part of you, which is all of us, do you see what I'm saying? We may not label it as such, but your essence, it's a living mind. You are energy. So anyway, I was saying that to say that's why for me I have the spiritual approach, meaning I get to grasp it from a broader perspective, rather than, let's just say, being a Christian or being a Buddhist. Why not embracing all of it? Because all of it's essentially talking about you any fucking way. You know what I'm saying? But that's just me. But anyway, going back to the conversation at hand, let's get into the topic. Now, this is a long sentence, but it's dope though. Oh my God. So, check this out. Everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature. Oh, we gotta break all that shit down. Anyway, opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. Extreme meets all truth, or half truth, all paradoxes may be reconciled. Oh my God. Where do I start? Everything is dual. Shit. Like, see, guys, if you understand, in fact, the Kabbalion says this: if you understand the mental nature of the universe, oh, you well. on your way like to self mastery. Because what this is, and the whole purpose of us, or me as a spiritual healer holding the mirror of wisdom, it's just so you could see the reflection of who you are. Because the whole idea is to help you to reconnect, to remember who you are. Oh, this is the land of the lost, baby. You know what I'm saying? So the whole idea here is for you to remember, to become a member again of who you are. That's the whole purpose. And the whole aspect of us speaking about spirituality and mythology and the gods. So once you understand that, then when you delve a little bit more into mythology, then you understand, oh, okay, mythology is conditioning your. Anyway, we're not going to go there. But check out my other channel where I talked about that. So everything is dual. My God, guys, everything. What was the other one? Everything is dual. Everything has poles, and everything has pairs of opposites. Oh my God! Now that that when you understand that and you could see it in nature, what you're doing at that point is that you are adopting a Godhead mentality. Now you flowing, meaning you start to see the universe or maybe your life through the universe. So when you understand everything is dual, what the fuck is this talking about? Now there's a difference. Well, let me break this down first. But this is not to be mistaken with a dualistic perspective. Understanding everything is dual doesn't make it a dualistic perspective. I want you to keep that in mind. When we're talking about a dualistic perspective, it's the idea of you understand the opposites, but the opposites are opposing. Meaning, what this is referring to when he's talking about the poles, and later on, it would tell you like and unlike are the same. What this is actually referring to is when you have a coin, you heads and tails, it's part of the same coin. Whereas when you have a dualistic perspective, you have good against bad. That's the current state that we are on. And this is how the reality that we are living, that's why you have Democrat, you have Republican, you have a dualistic perspective. You look at your physical body, then you set the supernatural. Like there's a difference. We create a difference even between when it comes to men and women. You're looking at the battle between the sexes. It's that perspective. That's the dualistic perspective. That's what it's called to eat from the tree of good and evil. And that tree right there is going to fuck you up. So, I mean, I had to pause for a second. I mean, shit, should I delve a little more into how this is going to fuck you up? Uh, I mean, and I've talked about this several times, but okay. Um, just to summarize, the issue with having a dualistic perspective is that it separates everything, and unfortunately, the reality that we're living, nothing is separated. You know, that's why I could say we all need each other. What you see is that it's we are all interdependent. We all need one another. I don't give a fuck. However you want to dissect it, look at the universe itself. Having either you have money or not, you broke, you rich or not, the cycle, everybody's needing. Everybody. So meaning that perspective is not even in alignment with the reality that you're living. So now let's take it a step further, right? So when we say everything has its as its pair of opposite, what this is saying is, well, anything that is good could be bad. For instance, this is a wireless speaker, it just does music. But if I was to blast my music at, let's just say, fucking, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, I mean, anything that is good could be bad. Your parents, a lot of us, we like to, the idea of, it's good to love your parents, it's good to have parents. I mean, I'm not refuting that, but you also got to be careful because, what I'm saying, there's a lot of bad parenting too, man. Do you see what I'm saying? When you have a kid, let's just say, who who wants to do mute? All right, let me. Wyclef, I was watching this shit. This nigga got kicked out of his house because he was doing music. Can you imagine that? To see how talented this motherfucker is. And if he didn't get to show his skills, the music that you like about this motherfucker, even what the fuck he's doing without like, and his dad was somehow, because he was a minister and that was the devil music. I mean, that's suffocating a child, man. That's child abuse right there. But a lot of us, we don't look at it that way because when you have a kid, that's what they love, meaning that's who they are. Like this motherfucker was talking about music and some of the different instrument that he had to use at a very young age. Like shit, I mean, if that's not passion, if that's not the motherfucker's life, and you want to take that away from him, and of course he didn't do it out of animosity. All I'm saying here is showing you that anything that is good can also be bad. And another reason why it's important to look at it this way too, because now at this point, you are going beyond what I like to call a linear consciousness. So, the Indian called this world Maya. And the meaning of the word Maya means it is an illusion. And the meaning of the word illusion simply means it's not what it appears to be. Anything what you're looking at, it's not what it is. Mm-mm. It is not what it appears to be. And this is the reality that we are living in. When you have quantum physics that is telling you, you know what, matter is condensed energy. And that's the shit that should be fucking everybody's mind up. In other words, what they are calling the matrix, that's what they are telling you. Like what you think is physical is not as physical as you think it is. It's condensed energy. So in the realm that we're living in, that's why we call it Maya, because it's all energy, it's all vibration, but we're speaking of a condensed vibration, which is it vibrates on a lower frequency, and that's where your body comes in. That's when you know what you call matter is. But ultimately, it's not what it looks like. So then you could understand now when they say every truth is a half truth. Because if it's not what it seems like, even if I were to get to know you, right? I see you, okay, you got brown eyes, whoever the fuck, doesn't matter. Or you got blue eyes, right? So that's half of you. You know what I'm saying? Because seeing how tall you are, I mean, it tells me about you. Looking at your hair, I could defend. I mean, I could actually, make the difference between, let's just say, if your name is Peter and this is Paul. But yet, because I could see what Peter looks like, and I could see what Paul's look like, and I could see the difference, doesn't mean I know who Paul is, nor doesn't mean I know who Peter truly is. So everything you're looking at is gonna be half truth any fucking way. I mean, do you see how it all mesh, like it all come together? But most importantly, this is also revealing what spirituality is, because over here we're talking about our essence. You know for sure when to get to know somebody, you got to go beyond what they look like. Meaning you need to know their character, how they act. Is this person a liar? Is he, you know what I'm saying? And then when we start knowing certain things about these people, then we say, okay, he's a cool dude. You might want, he's a snake. Watch out for him and all that shit. And that part you get to know about who they are. That's who they are. You know what I'm saying? Now, depending on where you are on your journey, that's why I mean I could look at somebody and I could see these things, but it's not because it's visible, right? I could see it because I could tap into whoever the fuck energy that is. But again, it's almost like I could see you beyond your physical self. So so by me, if I were to meet you for the first time, if I were to say anything about you that could be true, I mean I could see you, but the reason why I can see you is because I could see beyond you, your physical self. So in so many words, even if you're psychic, if you're a medium, ultimately, what when you're reading somebody, or if you're doing a reading for somebody, what you're doing is you're tapping into that person's energy. So therefore, you're going beyond what that person looks like. So it may save you a little bit of time. I may not have to hang around you to know if you're a liar or not. I could just tap. I'm like, okay. I know who you are. Motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So, we're saying that to say, what was the point I was making? Oh, I mean, so many points because we talked about, everything is dual, everything has its opposite, right? So just like when we talk about love and hate, that's why, the Kabbalion also tells us like and unlike are pretty much the same. When you're talking about love and hate, it's technically the same thing, but they vary in degrees. But it's the same, it's out of the same feeling. You know what I'm saying? That's why when you no longer love somebody, when you don't give a fuck about somebody, now that's the opposite of love. Love and hate, they are the same. That's why certain people they understand, when you have in your certain type of relationship, your narcissist, there you go. Your narcissist, they know how to trigger you and how, depending on how you respond, they could tell, you know what, it's not the hate. Like they know hate and love are some. These motherfuckers are smart, so somehow they understand hate and love are pretty much the same. So even if your response, it's a hate response or you mad or certain shit like that, they could tell you know what, he's not over me. Or I got this bitch, man. I made her mad, and which is true. But when you reach the level where you know what, I don't give a fuck, bro. You know what I'm saying? Saying, bitch, please, you're not even in my radar. Let alone I would be mad for you, and not listen. Not only you not in my fucking radar, you're not even worthy. So you looking at radar, not even worthy, and now for me to be involved in it, you out of your fucking mind. Like to do what? For what? You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying that to say, again, you know, approaching it. I mean, having that type of understanding when we're looking at life. I mean, that type of information you can relate to it. Anything that is good, like a knife that I use for to actually cut my, let's just say my steak. I can also use that to do something else. It's all about the way you use it. And what that does, pretty much, when you adapt that type of mentality, it gets you out of that linear thinking, the type of thinking, A equal B, and if B is equal A, and then B C equal B, whatever the fuck. Get you out of. You gotta get yourself out of that mentality. Because man, there's a bunch of gray areas in life. It's not black or white. It's not. It's not. In fact, it's those odds, man, that you might want to capitalize on. You know what I'm saying? They say the little piece of stone that the builders rejected as they were building. That the cornerstone. That's the one that is the most needed, but nobody knew. Nobody knew. But anyway, to go back to the whole, what I'm saying, understanding everything has its pair of opposite. And in the Kabbalion, I think the one example that they actually use, which is, I think it's incredible, they use temperature, right? I mean, if you're using your temperature out of your thermostat, I mean, the only difference when you're talking about hot and cold, it's just the degree, but it's still the air. So understanding that, not only it helps you to go beyond, that face value type of perspective, because obviously, I mean, life is not what it appears to be. You know what I'm saying? And I also remember too, man, in my early, that was around the time where, I used to talk to certain elders and ask questions and things like that. And I remember this guy told me, man, listen, man, life is like water trade. I mean, you stand on top of the water, everybody looks at you like it appears to be normal, but underneath the water, I mean, you pedaling like a motherfucker. And why am I saying this? I'm saying this again, to the whole illusion thing. And an illusion doesn't necessarily mean fake. In fact, it doesn't mean fake at all. Because when you're talking about anything being fake, you are somehow insinuating there's a real version. Whereas when we're talking about the world that we're living in, there's no real version, there's no fake version. What this is it is taking place, but it's not what it appears to be. So, understanding that everything, I mean, is dual. Everything has its pair of opposite. This is, actually helping you to become as conscious as the universe is, or it's helping you to understand the mental aspect of the universe. And once you grasp that level, that's what we say, and that's what people are saying when you're saying God's way is not man's way. That's when you understand, and then pain and everything that you see, it's benefiting you. I mean, there's a whole mentality that this whole thing comes from, but all of it has to do with self mastery. You understanding not just yourself, first of all, to master those laws, but most importantly, it's you being better at you. Because mastering anything is simply making it part of your life. You've mastered walking pretty much. So much so, some of you could be running. Or you might get to a position where you almost fell, and then, yeah, baby, you know what I'm saying? I'm right back up, baby. You know what I'm saying? You're styling out here. So, anyway, we're saying all of that to say, a few things. Understanding everything has its opposite. It expand your consciousness. And you don't take it for like, you understand, just like we talked about your parents. Yes, it's important. But you have bad parent too, bro. You have parents who have not done their own shadow self, and those are going to be the worst. So the only thing you're going to deal with at that point is only their shadow self. Shit, nigga, I know. I know. And I mean, I don't know if you ever heard, like, when certain comedians are saying, you know what, you know when mom is serious. You know what I'm saying? They have all, when your friends are here, and then mom knows she just got to give you that look. Well, that look, that's what you know. This is her true self, and then those are her friends, and you like, oh shit, okay, and that's the mom you know when everybody's not home, and this is who the fuck you're dealing with. And for the most part, your parents could be the worst thing ever, especially if they're narcissists. Oh man, forget about it. Like for me, if I were to give you a little bit of background about me, shit. Shit. My what you would say mother is competing against me. You know how you have kids, and then that's like because I have a 5-year-old son, right? Can you imagine if I'm doing push up with this guy? Come on, I just pumped 20. Let's go, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm better than you. You know what I'm saying? That's a fucking kid. How am I gonna be better? If anything, my whole deal is not, what I'm saying, would be to help him. Come on, baby, let's do one more. I know you could do it. You're getting stronger. You listen, I remember dad used to be like this, but if you do it again the next day, do you see what I'm saying? Then you imagine now having a mother figure now. Now that's looking to sabotage your life. But anyway, it's not my real people. But all I'm saying is that that's what you had. That's what I had as a mother figure, which is catastrophe. Like, literally, because in the occult we do say for you to become the men that you are, it's imperative that you kill your parents. Well, shit. Not physically, obviously, but this is one of the cases that I needed to do that physically. Yo, when every step it's a misdirection, looking to sabotage. That's abuse. That's just like dealing with that person's shadow because they couldn't do it themselves. Now they're gonna make sure you don't do it. How about that for mom and dad? You know what I'm saying? So, what we're saying here, right? Ultimately, and for me, and I am well honored because all of that served me. Do you see what I'm saying? Obviously, shit, nigga, you tell me how I'm looking. You know what I'm saying? But I was just trying to bring that up just so you understand that anything that is good can also be bad. So when you start looking at this reality in that way, which is the actual reality that we are living in, when I use my mom example, it could be your father, it could be somebody else. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like we're living in a society where we like to say shit that it fucks my mind up. Like if you want to talk about us living a lie, that's exactly what we do. Just like we like to devalue ourselves. Just a bunch of shit that we say that doesn't really factor into the reality that we are living in. Like, what type of knowledge is that? That's not even anything. It's not a knowledge you can actually work with. You know what I'm saying? How the fuck does that work? That's okie doke, man. And people want to talk about supernatural. That's not even that. I don't know what the fuck that shit is. The fact that you have to devalue yourself, or even, I get it. The whole Bible, you have to honor your mom and dad, which I strongly believe too. Because although, and me having that flexibility too, and that's why I am able to honor them still, yet not literally, but indirectly. Because when the truth is, nothing really hurt me. I was able to build from. I mean, it's like they were throwing stone at me. Man, I built a whole fucking mansion behind me. It's like, hey, nigga, keep trying. You know what I'm saying? And I guess the last thing that they tried that's fucking them up is trying to kill me now to steal my inheritance. So that was the last thing. I mean, it's like they keep fucking up. They couldn't see that they were fucking up, and then now that's the last thing because they did it to themselves. I got nothing to do with this. I'm just witnessing the whole thing. I'm like, wow, that's how you feel. That's how you truly feel. Wow. Oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? You do what you do, you get what you get. You know what I'm saying? This shit got nothing to do with me. But anyway, going back to adopting that Kabbalion state of mind, but so far about what we talked about, having that type of understanding, not only it relates to the reality that we are living in, because you can see, anything that is good could be bad, and something that is bad could be good. Do you see what I'm saying? I mean, that's what we're talking about here, because that allows you now, to go beyond what you're looking at. So now it's almost like, okay, I understand you talk about parents, but what type of parents are we talking about? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you still got to be careful. You know what I'm saying? But we have this mentality, which was, it's your parents, and then that's it. And I've seen a lot of people. In fact, I've seen a lot of people, because they have not killed their parents, they are killing themselves. In fact, there was two young ladies that I did have that conversation with, and I was just, I guess that's the difference in us, right? And she was saying all those, how her mother was, technically killing her, sabotages everything that she does. I mean, it's almost like this bitch doesn't want her to be happy. I mean, that's what my situation was. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know what I'm saying? He's not happy. Yeah. Like, people are happy because other people are not happy. Yo, I swear to God, I'm not making this up. I swear to God, I'm not making this shit up. But anyway, I guess it is what it is. But I'm saying I'm saying that to say, right? And because and her, I mean, and let me just make that point real quick, and then we're gonna go back to what we're talking about, right? So, right, so because she couldn't let her go, it's like, well, it's mom, it's this and that. It's not true. I mean, if anything, if mom doesn't respect you, who else will? If mom doesn't love you, who else will, bro? And then I realized, that's the fucking attachment. That's the weakness that a lot of these people have, because they can't embrace who they are. Because embracing who you are, it's gonna get lonely, baby. And besides, for you to be you, nobody else can be around. And that's the whole idea of what in the occult, when we say, you gotta kill your parents. It's nothing physical, but it's just that you have to become you. Now, if you had good parents who give you proper, let's just say, advice or tools for you to build yourself from, I mean, that's the thing. That's the job. It's my job is to, like my son and daughter, it's for me to help them to be a better of who they are. Do you see what I'm saying? Not of anything that I didn't do, or not for me to show them I'm the man. Shit, nigga. It's already clapped. Listen, just like I told him too. It's listen, man. If you want to know that, you know what I'm saying? you're just gonna have to, you know what I'm saying, study the game tapes. You know, because your daddy's a bad motherfucker. You hear me? But this is not about you. This is for you now. But anyway, it's just I guess it's part of the healing too. It's part of the healing process, and that's why for me as a spiritual healer, I found it very vital. You know what I'm saying? It's like at first it was just sharing information, but now it's like and having the type of sight that I have too. Like you see the shit is needed, man. Like it's wow. This is the belly of the beast. It's all around you. It's all around you, bro. It's all around you. But anyway, going back to now that we broke down everything as its pair of opposite. We talked about positive and negative. It's not. They're not meant to be. They're not meant to oppose one another. They are the same. I mean, we need just like you know, especially for my ladies, my single ladies, all my single ladies. You know what I'm saying? Like we love to act like we're independent, but the problem with that is you don't understand. Like there's another side of that too. I mean, anybody who's independent is also dependent. So now, when you're acting like you're independent, the problem that comes with that is you kind of forgot that you also need people. Because we are all, listen, I hear a lot of people always talk about businesses. You want to become financially fucking independent. I get it, which is true. It gives you time and all that. But it's almost like people always try to look at it from a fucking independent per- perspective. Like you start a business and then do you need people to run the business? Do you see what I'm saying? So for me, I came to understand to truly be independent, you have to learn how to be dependent, or at least you got to acknowledge that side of it. Do you see what I'm saying? And all right, so you got your car, you got your apartment. You know what I'm saying? Man, you cruising, you riding dirty. Well, guess what, baby? I mean, shit. Like, what if you lose that job? What's gonna happen? You know what I'm saying? And here's something else too. And because of that job too, just like I was talking about the other day, now, you gotta wear a mask. You know what I'm saying? There's a bunch of other shit that, that comes with that too. Bunch of other shit, the shit that we do to maintain positions. You know what I'm saying? Hey man, I gotta pay I'm sorry, I gotta pay my mortgage, man. You know what I'm saying? Like you may have to close your eyes on a few things. And the reason why I'm even bringing that up is because when I after I watched the whole Cat Williams shit and looking at people responses, I mean response to it, it's almost like shit, like everybody, you know what I'm saying? I mean, obviously with the number of views, but I'm like, okay, why the fuck is that? I'm like, oh, okay, I see why. That's because you're all living it. You worry about Hollywood, but your job is fucking the same. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, are you gonna be like Monique to speak the truth? You being blackballed? I mean, shit. Isn't that the same shit they do when you go apply for a job? You could easily be blackballed, man. Especially if you're using the wrong references. You know what I'm saying? So, or the job decided to do a little bit of background check. Let me go ahead and reach out to whoever your let's just say your old supervisor was, and let's just say you didn't get along with that motherfucker. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like it's almost like I'm asking myself, what the fuck are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? What are we really talking about here, man? But I get it. People love Hollywood. But again, you know, the biggest getaway, I felt like people didn't really get it, which is It's happening at your job. What's the true issue here? Is it Hollywood or is it us? Does that make any sense? But anyway, I digress. What the fuck was I talking about? Let's go back to this thing here. So we talked about how everything has a pole, pretty much. The pair of opposites. When it comes to the pole, what I guess they're referring to here, the pendulum swing. I mean, not swinging, but it's like there's an up, there's a down, just like we were talking about. They vary in degree, but it's the same air, and if it drops, it gets cold. If it goes higher, guess what? You hot. But it's the same. I mean, it's not the same temperature, but it's the same air that we were talking about here. Okay, then they talk about extreme meats. Oh my God! Now let's go back to every truth is half truth, just like we were talking about, right? Let's just say you see me for the first time. You see me for the first time. You see what I look like. You know what I'm saying? But that's not all of me, right? So this is half of me that you are actually looking at. And the reason being, just like we talked about, giving the world that we're living in is a world of illusion. Nothing appears. I mean, I think there's another saying too. I don't know if it's Islam that says it, but I remember they said something to the effect of, believe nothing you hear. You know, that statement. Half again, it's all relating to what we're talking about here. And again, this is all self consciousness, because even when we listen, or our ability to see this world has a lot to do with our inner vision. That's why, you know what I'm saying, there's nothing you could do without you in this world. Your best bet is you. You literally is you. You want love, it's you. You want whatever the fuck, share your gift with people. Well, it's you. Nothing could be done without you. Let's just say you say God, okay, you acknowledge God. Again, it's you. You know what I'm saying? There's no God without you. I don't give a fuck how big, how almighty you trying to say that it is, and I'm not contradicting that neither. In fact, I believe in that myself. When I'm talking about the universe, I could feel a higher, a cosmic field. I mean, if you really want to talk some shit, like, I'm living it, so I know. But here's the thing, though. None of it means nothing without me, without my input, without my receptivity. You better love yourself, baby. I'm just gonna say that once, all right? It don't make me mad. But anyway, what the fuck was I talking about? Let's go back to this here, man. Extreme meat. Oh my god. Yes, 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 yes. Now, what this is talking about here, that part of it, it's also talking about the paradox, right? Paradoxes are pretty much statements that appear to be contrary, but they come together. And again, this is totally opposite from having a black and white perspective. As a matter of fact, if you understand everything I just said, everything that is being said here, it makes sense. Meaning, if this is an illusion, it's not what it appears to be. So therefore, we're looking at half truth. Therefore, and this is all of us. This is the whole. We're looking at half truth. We're also looking at You know what I'm saying? We have to see things beyond what they appears to be. That's why we understand that anything that is good could be bad, because now it's beyond. It's mastery now. It's having that little bit of understanding. It's what I call discernment, or that's your inner vision too. Because us as the beholder, I mean, it's not what you say, but it's how you see it. So when they say beauty is in the eye of the beholder, so now if you don't see beauty, I gotta ask you. I mean, how's your sight though? To the pure, all is pure. And if you don't see it that way, how's your sight? What are you looking at? What do you see? But a lot of that would have to also do with your level of vibration. So again, when we're talking about, like this world in itself is a spiritual world. It's not what it appears to be. Even when we're dating one another. I mean, even the act of listening to somebody, it takes a whole lot. It's more than what it appears to be. That's why for me, I'm not big on fucking relationship advice, but I would tell you, nigga, just know you, because I mean, you're not gonna be in a good relationship being a fucking asshole. Oh, you have a keen ear to listen in relationship, and then when you go back to your regular life, what the fuck is going on? Like, you can't listen now. Like, it doesn't make sense. And when we're talking about relationship too, it's not your whole fucking life. It's how you relate to someone else. So the key is truly you. And guess what? Even if you were to fall in love with somebody, right? Because if that person does not believe in love, and then you believe in love, that's most that that those are your current fucking relationship. And that's why people are so fucking, they're so damaging. There's so anxiety. I mean, there's so much anxiety. There's so much fucking depression. People. I mean, all of that shit. Or if you somehow now, because you don't know who you are, then you associate yourself with what I call a fucking deceiver. Oh, you should. I mean, again, these are regular life, real life experiences when people are talking. I mean, now the only difference is I'm trying to get you to see it a little bit beyond than what it appears to be. There's a reason why people go to marriage councils. Do you see what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Because ultimately, that's truly what you're dealing with. After a year or two, now you're hearing people saying, "Yo, man, marriage is work." Like, what the fuck did you think? Even to say that in itself, life is work. Just for you to wake up and brush your teeth, wash your ass, everything is work, bro. What the fuck are you saying? But I understand what they're saying too. At the same time, not trying to get on anybody's cases, but ultimately, I want you to get the bigger picture though. And this is what becoming conscious is all about. This is also what, having the ability to see beyond the veil. And that's when now the Kabbalion is helping you to understand, for you to see the poles in everything that you're looking at. Because what's that helping you? It's helping you to go beyond what, I mean, to stop looking at shit for face value. That's all it is. And then when you start, if you understand it that way, then you understand, just like we talked about love and hate, it's the same thing. The opposite of hate or opposite of love is not giving a fuck. And you all know it too. You know when you're in a fucking relationship, you're going back and forth, nigga, you're not ready. When you say you're done with this motherfucker, like, What are we talking about? Nigga, get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? What is there to talk about? So I'm also saying that too, by you understanding those mental aspect of the universe, it also allows you to have a better self mastery because and that's what the Kabbalion does. It helps you with self mastery. By you having the proper understanding of your own nature. Because the one thing you will realize when you, let's just say, when you understand the mental nature of the universe, you're gonna see it's in you. And that's how wise our ancestors were when we talked about nature because you can see the wisdom in it, but you gotta have the eyes to see it too. Then we understand, and then we say shit like, "Man, you rip what you sow." It's from nature. Because if you plant, I guarantee you, man, there's no way you're gonna get banana if you planted fucking tomatoes. You know? So what you see, that's where it's important for you to understand the spiritual laws because what the spiritual laws help you with, it gives you the code for you to get what you're looking for. Because of this being a fucking illusion, you tend to feel like, and this is where the fucking illusion is, the minute you go outside of yourself, you separate yourself, and then thinking about okay, you're gonna have that's when you're blaming other people for whatever the fuck. You missing out the point. You missed the whole. You, you missed it, man. You missed the train. You missed your flight. The minute you separate, but when you understand the poles, but you understand also polarity. There is two sides of the same coin. And that is more in alignment with the actual reality that you and I see. Just like anything that is good could be bad, just like we talked about the knife, we talk about the parents. I mean, shit. I mean, we're talking, you know what I'm saying? Shit. We're talking about a 400 years of slavery, right? I mean, shit. Like, it's through your parents, nigga. Those are the motherfuckers who are fucking you up. You know what I'm saying? It's those little hoes that you were raised with, or your mom that was a hose back in the day, now who's raising her daughter to be a hoe too. You know, and that's when you have the whole Shirazad Ali now that's telling you, hey man, these whole like that's why for me I don't even entertain the whole aspect of what people are talking about, you know, like the modern day women. I mean, I get it. I get what you're saying in terms of women nowadays, but that issue was always there, motherfucker. And if you don't see that, if you don't, I mean, that's why like I don't understand what these niggas are talking about, bro. Hey, it's my own. You know, I need to regroup and maybe listen more. You know, but ultimately, man, if anything, come on, man. I know you gotta have an aunt that was a hoe, bro. And you know how you would know? I'm gonna tell you how. Nigga, I'm gonna tell you how. I mean, of course, it ain't gonna be like everybody was saying such and such is a fucking hoe. Oh no, it wasn't that. Like I'll give you if I'm using my own fucking example. Like there's I mean those people are not really my family, but there's 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 one of the aunts like she had kid. Let's just say I have kid with a girl, and then my uncle have another kid with that same girl. And this is the bitch. Let's just say you would not hear a word of no profanity is to be said around her. Like, can you believe this shit? Meanwhile, this bitch is profanity in itself. You know, nah, bitch, nah. Yeah, you are profanity in its fucking self. It must be love. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? And those are your people now who are raising you. And this is this bitch now who raised one of my fucking cousins. And then what the fuck are you gonna teach him about being a man? Come on, man. Come on now. Let's be honest. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying. In other words, if you have an aunt, you know what I'm saying, that could be in that same predicament, or a few baby daddies. I mean, I'm not judging. I'm not judging anything here. I'm making a point in terms of, listen, man, it's always been that way. I mean, you may argue it's a little bit worse, but tomatoes, tomatoes. The idea is not to feel like women back in the days were the best women ever. Nah, nigga. Nah, nigga. And that's what Shirazad Ali's telling you niggas. You know, and she even give you a little bit of background that she was saying, you know, and then when she started in fucking pigs, telling niggas not to eat pigs, how it's not good for you. And then she realizes the men didn't have a fucking issue with it. It was them fucking hoes. Then you like, what the fuck? Do you see what I'm trying to say? That's why, like, for me, like, when I'm listening to niggas saying modern day women, okay, I get what you're saying, but what are you really saying? What are you truly saying? Come on, man. Like, y'all gotta wake up, man. You know what I'm saying? Y'all gotta wake up. But anyway, going back to now extreme meats. Now we're talking about the paradox, right? Anything that sort of like appear to be a contradiction, and now we also know, not doubt. Obviously, the Kabbalion talked about that. It's not now that we now know. I mean, because I'm about to say, you know, two things can also be true at the same time. You know what I'm saying? And that's what the paradox is telling you. Extreme, two things that could be opposite, they could come together. But anyway, I felt like we talked about so many different things. But just to summarize real quick, guys, I strongly recommend the Kabbalion. And there's a bunch of, you know, other statements that are like that in that book. This whole book in itself is fucking like, it's fucking incredible. It's fucking incredible. And the thing I love about this book, it's almost like, you know, because I remember the first time I read it, how I was able to learn a lot. And now looking at myself now reading it, or if I were to go back to it, it's like it's a wealth of knowledge, and it's like and I'm still enthused by it. I still eat. I mean, I still feed myself off of it. It's almost like, in fact, it gives me more of a confirmation of everything that I'm talking about now, and giving me a better, I mean, I guess, giving me a more of a solid understanding. But that process in itself too, it's realizing other stuff that I, anyway, it's just beautiful, man. I mean, the beauty of that book for me, it's like, you know, no matter, as you grow, you know, you still enjoy it. And that's just ridiculous to me, like, in a good way, obviously. So I strongly recommend it, because what the Kabbalion does, just like I was talking about, pretty much it helps you to understand the mental nature of the universe. But most importantly, too, it's as you grasping the mental aspect of the universe, it's almost like you are adapting to it. You are shifting your consciousness as well. And that's why the words got to be made flesh. That's what, when we're talking about transformation, you attaining a highest level of consciousness, you have to become the knowledge. The transformation has to take place within you. And that's the whole aspect of becoming the enlightened one, or even to wake up, or the awakening. It's all part of that process. Those little bit of you stumbling, I mean, it's extra. I mean, it's building on those. Let's just say different level of consciousness. But anyway, I definitely wanted to share this with you guys. It's past an hour. God damn. I just wanted to share this with you guys. If anything, it's just to give you a broader perspective, and that broader perspective allows you to kind of see things beyond what they appear to be. You know, when we understand anything that is good could be bad, but also we understand that opposite could come together, but most importantly, not to take anything for face value, and that's why we say everything that is true is a half truth. And if we're using the example of you looking at me, the other half of that is come get your medicine, nigga. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna leave it there. It's been a pleasure. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I got something else, you know what I'm saying, cooking, you know, and we'll talk about it. Happy New Year. Listen, man, it's blessings, blessings, King, blessings, blessings. They can't stop the shine, baby. You can't do it. Too little. You know what I'm saying? I see. Bro. Ali. I'll shoot down there.